Hi. So now I'm gonna take a video. I'm right now in the certain parts of New Jersey right now. The last video I was in Pennsylvania trying to explore something, and now I did explore some technologies that overchange your life. And my last video talked about the comfort zone and your lifestyle. The reason why I'm saying this because all the money issue that is actually misunderstanding. So if you chase the money, like I told you, you never become successful. That's on purpose to trying to be in a comfort. More you're in a comfort, more you chase the money to survive. If that happens, then you never get find anything. That's something happiness. So that's I'm trying to expose all of that. Yes, in my last video. This video, I'm talking about the technologies I'm gonna talk about. Send out a photo in the front of my video in the picture, such as the oil link, for example, that shows the information that shows the proof that there was an oil that's gonna change anything. But first, there's oil, steel, and railroad. Those three main parts that overchange the technology as we know today. But it was discovered by inventors, free thinkers, and business type of invention. Then some people like Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and other marketing type of people, investors, and of course J.P. Morgan too, involved all of that, trying to do all the marketing and revolutionize it into a dystopian future. And you should look at New York City for now. New York City is a perfect example why it got way too dystopian. You should look how it's made right now. It looks like complete dystopia. Like I said before, looks like a complete hell, as you know. And when you went there, you know so far that there's way too much police officer that jail so many people, so many homeless people. There's lots of crimes. There's a lot of massive depression in there. And it definitely looks unhappy and miserable place. And you know, reason why it does that, because of all the oil and technologies that was been stolen by Illuminatis and robber barons. And they have a power to do anything they want to. And now they're trying to do a stole century banking. No one has a Federal Reserve note. So Federal Reserve notes overtake the money and can make it into a debit, private line cartels. And who does that? Who's responsible for that? Is President Woodrow Wilson. One of the worst is concerned I know so far. In general, is one of the worst and the most evil U.S. president in American history. A guy who caused all the dystopian shithole as we know today. You know, there's some skyscrapers improving. That doesn't mean that entire technologies are improving. Because cars should be flying already, as we know. The cars should be flying, and it should be in outer space already. And things be much more improved. Since then, there's nothing much except little by little. The reason why I'm trying to say that, because people fall for the money, fall for the comfort. Reason why, because they've been brainwashed your whole life, called US dollars money. So I'm gonna try to tell you history, parts of the technologies that I'm gonna talk about. First, I'll talk about the oil. The oil, as I know, I've been discovered that it was founded by Chinese in the ancient times. They didn't use it much back then because they don't know how to deal with it. Until much later, until the millennia later, when Edward Henry or first Colonel Drake, drilled the parts of the oil in Pennsylvania, and that make into the market, make into the business of marketing. And then John D. Rockefeller, a guy who now trying to make a business in Cleveland, Ohio, and tried to store all the oil, trying to use all the oil, and stole them. Because he knows that the Colonel Drake also works for him, have a part of his job. But it was done by free thinkers in general who built their own private business, trying to sell oil. The problem is that John D. Rockefeller bankrupted and making into monopolies. That causes the huge problems. So oil wasn't discovered much, doesn't use much until much later, when again with a name, again with the same person called Edward Drake, again drill it, and then there's some private business over there tried to sell it. Then John D. Rockefeller bankrupted it and make it into monopolies. Same thing with someone did in Texas, and he did the same thing with it. Now he took care of all the oil as we know today. That causes a huge problems to society. As we know, the technology doesn't change much because of it. The cars is still using oil, not just gasoline that's part of oil, as well as other parts of it, which are just to oil, which is going to completely pollute the planet. So oil was been stolen by monopolies criminals, and he's the one who sided with the central bank too. So that's we know so far. When you understand what I'm talking about, then oil was stolen and was founded the central banking. That steel it was actually made by metal makers in the ancient civilization. They were trying to make it. Steel is all about just doing melting iron and trying to cool down with some carbon. Big carbon and make it into steel. Those are furnaces. But on the old days, they don't know how to make it steel because they don't discover something yet. But there was one time in India they're trying to really discover the one true steel. It was really not that strong one, but first steel ever. And then they're making into a trading that costs swords, horses, armory. Gotta make up parts of tiny bit steel. So steel is actually definitely not invented by Andrew Carnegie. Schools tells you that he did, but in general, it was a pretty stupid lie. It was metal makers who invented the steel, because they got to do something with their armory and sword and fighting and comeback. So they discover iron and they had to do something with it. That causes steel for existence, and they didn't know anything about it until much later. In the millennia, century later again, with Benz, the guy who did all the steel, and he's inventing the one pure steel. Instead of chronology, he's making it into iron, making it into coal. Since coal was discovered, then steel has actually become true made. There's someone else making better with it. And then Shellfish too, who did all the steel. So, is happening back in England, and that caused Andrew Carnegie, who stole steel, making it to marketing. He was a small worker side with George Pullman, known as a guy who did all the railroads. He did all the railroads. Cars, such as a train, for example. So Paul Newman. There's a George Pullman did all the car roads. He did all the rail cars, sleeping cars, for example, that improved the chain technologies. So Andrew Carnegie used steel by just investing something from bridges to other structures. They make it to one of the biggest steel production in the world. That caused the improvement of his skyscraper. So New York City is the first place. Chicago is, and New York City come after it. The first is one of the earliest civilizations to build by steel. It's some of those places in this place of New York City. Yes, that's what it's first built. That's what there's some first built. And then it become very useful and very productive. He become very rich. Then what happens next? He sell his soul, and he sell his company to J.P. Morgan. Yes, he sold the company to J.P. Morgan. And then JP Morgan has all the power to control all the factories now. So now steel has been stolen. Oil has been stolen by John. Oil has been stolen by John D. Rockefeller. And steel has been stolen. And steel marketing industrialization. Some of them have been stolen by JP Morgan. So now I'm going to talk about the railroad. The railroad was invented in ancient Greece. Since it got to deal with mining stuff like that. Was doing mining. They got to use some of them until the Romans came to invade Greece and conquer, and it vanished completely. It's vanished completely from existence. Until millennia again, which went same thing with other two parts of it. That's making into the wood, making into action again, event again, such as medieval residents in Germany in 16th century or 17th century, like I can't remember it. That was inventing the wooden wheel, or the road, and some piece of iron because steel wasn't effective until 19th century, 18th century, with the shuffles and Henry Benz. And then after the steel came in, then railroads improving much more effectively. Then Edward Henry and Harrison and the Fester and Congress Vanderbilt. There's two investors, or investors of megaton. This is who overtake the railroad into the robber barons. So railroads have also been robbed by the robber barons as well, and J.P. Morgan, of course. He's been responsible. J.P. Morgan responsible for overtaking banks that caused the 1907 banking crisis, and that leads to Treco from Treco Island. The creatures of Treco Island that caused the Federal Reserve from 1907 banking crisis due to J.P. Morgan overtake the industrialization, except John D. Rockefeller also monopolized all the oil. So that's proven fact that railroads, steel, and oil are three main important technologies that overtake its course, its actions. I know, so I didn't look right to your camera. I just trying to think something I'm about to say. So, it just happens. Sometimes I can't look in the camera. I just look over what I've been looking at this ground. Because I've been in nature all the time, so I had to watch out for those police officers, those idiots and assholes. I better watch out for them because they're easily arresting people, putting jails because I'm in the United States. Of course, one of the most prison population in the world. As you know, people think not so because you didn't open your goddamn eyes. Because there's so many evidence that there's evidence that so many people in jail. So that's been talked about last 3 videos, but 4 videos about explosive technologies. So, I'm trying to explain that now. Those oil, steel, and railroads. I keep repeating stuff, trying to empathize it. That will eventually overchange its course. And now once you get to the 20th century, the Federal Reserve come into existence, and meanwhile the steam engine also is gonna do it anything as well, from coal, the railroad, of course, and steel is steam engine. You never know what steam engine is all about. It's all about is just an engine that heats up some of those things, such as coal. That usually happens in ships back in 19th century, and train 19th century also use its coal to burn. It causes its movement. And same thing with factories as well. That's where steam engine usually come from. Also improved technologies, as we know. So I didn't study much steam engines, but I did study a lot its resources of 3 things I've been said before. So So that being said, that the steam engine changes anything as well. Improvement is instant of industrialization. The next is got to do with cars. Cars is actually done by someone. I can't remember names. Judged by George something or other. I would type in. I could lean on the text in the comments below. I'll go to name it fully who was inventing the car, because Henry Ford doesn't invent the cars, as we know. He's just another marketer. He's not a big one compared to other rubber barons. But Henry Ford also uses steam engines and oil. And oil is also got made by John D. Rockefeller. I keep repeating his name. What's got to do with that? And that makes Henry Ford means a lower precision. And the oil dominates all the technologies then. And electricity comes after, when somewhere else was working something on it. And Benjamin Franklin uses kind of electricity to Machiavelli and other people also improve their electricity. There is someone I can't remember their names. I know I wasn't prepared yet, but I had to do this because time flies extremely fast. So I had to do something before it gets too late with economic collapse. So I had to do something right now. So I know I wasn't prepared. Sometimes I can't look in the camera. Keep repeating action over again. I know I wasn't prepared, but it's better to do something than not doing anything or later. So I had to do it right. So I had to do something. It's continue without being prepared. So I get better at it. Because failures is good. Like I told you from the last video. But now the electricity changes anything as well. But it's also improve the banking and the Federal Reserve too, having industrialization. So cars is actually changing anything, and electricity. Then airplanes, for example, that also has got to do with it. But they come with much later time as well. So remember, the first 3 steps is actually got to do with resources. It's got to do with something in the past, ancient times, with metal, steel, iron, and other metal makers who've improved their resources, and that's caused to improve technologies as well. Because the schools told you that Henry Ford invented cars, Thomas Edison invented light bulbs, John D. Rockefeller invented oil, they told you that, which is full of shit and stupid. They're not inventing light bulbs. They're not inventing all those type of stuff. It was people from the past themselves invent something. Like I told you, it was metal makers. It was other people who did all the stuff. It was some other related communities who also built, like India in ancient times of China, who did the gunpowder and traded to improve the economy. It's not famous people, not famous marketers. So that's when people told you that, means they're all lies. So that's trying to tell you that the truth will always be there in this world. So reason why nearby New York City, for example, to expose the truth. And I was in Pennsylvania in my last video to expose some resources that overtake its history. Reason why I'm taking this video. So once you get to the 20th century, the Federal Reserve got all the power using airplane technologies, cars that approve of other companies to make it better, to make it into a one-world giant fascist communist economic shithole. Look what we have now today now. Since people can be completely brainwashed with the system because of power of little nummies take care of the government. The government making more fake laws because they have more power of central banking. Reason why I'm trying to mention central banking, because central banking has got to do with improvement technologies and marketing. Well, except Thomas Edison, because Thomas Edison is the one who makes something out of electricity, but he was keep competition with Nikola Tesla. And Thomas Edison is not a guy who was with the central banking and the robber barons. He was a regular fake marketing as well. So Thomas Edison is nothing compared to other in marketing. Andrew Carnegie's there, as I know. Henry Ford may be there as well. Henry Ford is also side with Adolf Hitler, financed it because of anti-Semitic, because there are billionaires powerful. So you think Adolf Hitler's bad, he's evil. I know he did something. As well as John D. Rockefeller, David Rockefeller, the Rothschilds, they're also killing millions of people. Governments, people believe in authority, does that stuff. So you think Adolf Hitler's evil. That's been programmed to you think he's evil, which is true. So those are things I've been mentioned before. So reason why I have a proof that things are existing, even though I not did a good job of making video, but I will try my best trying to change things. So, and now airplanes are real improvement in past centuries, past half a decade, as well as cars, airplane, and electricity. But not that much change after 1980s, 1990s, except computers, which is affected by someone such as Bill Gates with his Microsoft crap. And that was a guy who making coronavirus and vaccines, which is also can be a very evil man as well. Well, Steve Jobs has got to do with cell phones, so iPhone, but Steve Jobs seems to be a really miserable person with his anger. But he's not that monopoly. He's too stressful type of guy, Steve Jobs. But I don't know about Elon Musk, because Elon Musk's trying to do something with technologies that breed to space. But the problem is that technology we use today, or it shouldn't be from central banking, Federal Reserve money. It should be from real money like gold and silver. So how to get resources and technologies more is trying to invent something new every day. Said no one else does that because they've been to government schools, brainwashing and not doing anything but follow the fake money. Unlike in 19th century when they don't have government schools, they don't have much bigger government forcing fake laws. It doesn't have that much police officers that have been jailed so many people back in 19th century in the entire world, not just the US, the entire world, that caused people to do more invention and marketing and expand the marketing and industrialization. That's the reason why this is happening, because of 19th century, because things happened what I've been said before, until early 20th century, when things then someone steal it and make it into a fact, make it into an act. And the World War I, World War II began and try to make a new world order. And now their plan so far is making economic collapse. Reason why I'm trying to do this video because of it. Not just this video, I'm trying to wake much people up what's going on. Because I want to get our lives improve themselves. But people are getting here. Because they're building the wood mills. I know what's burping, but they're building the wood mills. The solar power, and what else? And they're trying to build a nuclear reactor. That's going to produce much electricity, which just requires lots of resources and its information. But a lot of people don't know how to do that. I know because not the undiscovered means that no one knows about it yet. No humans. That's the reason why we never get to type 1 civilization. But since someone mentioned we had type 077 civilization back in 1970s, so what about 2020? doesn't mean the technologies will improvement except parts of skyscrapers. That's the reason why I'm trying to expose the central banking processing and government making fake laws. That doesn't make that much civilization, except fuel skyscrapers to building, improve little tiny by bit. But what happens back in the past? The past doesn't mean what happened back in the past. People are more into what happens in the past. People are real mans back then, trying to do something. That's the reason why we got proved themselves until the time where someone else take it and fucked it up. So if you want to get back to normal, first is to keep watching my second video. Talk about how to think something real in creativity ways. That's my second video. If you go watch. If not, then those three technologies, those oil. I keep repeating, I'm sorry, but I had to keep repeating, so just oil, something like that. All three causes of creativity way to overshape the centuries, searchers as we know. If you didn't understand what I'm saying, second video. And someone else invented, and then tried to make use, and someone else known as Henry Ford, and Andrew Carnegie invented and marketed it, improve its economy. So, and now, since no one else does that except Elon Musk with his space program, which has not come to effect until people realize about governments and central banks that we're not getting to space yet, and we never will be. I know that's a bad truth, but that's a fact. Look at 2020. Look at that. Doesn't mean we're not fast enough. Because things have been said in the past. That's the reason why I keep exposing, keep showing technologies, keep showing resources. I have to prove how civilization reach its limits. So the reason why I went traveling, because I had to think better. Because if you're in the government schools, those public schools, they teach you not to think. They teach you how to obey the shit. They keep obeying the shit. The reason why I had to travel and explore some places. I know I'm angry because everyone else want to keep obeying their comfort, keep obeying their government and central banking shit processes, make it civilization turn into a dystopian shithole. That makes me angry. That makes other free thinkers angry. My anger is to trying to change things as we know. I know that a lot of people not gonna watch this video. If it does, they realize what's going on around you. If you're watching my previous video, you understand what's going on. This video is all about technologies. How civilization we are today. So if you understand what's happening in the 20th century, you know things are going wrong. In the 21st century, going complete chaos and wrong. From 9/11, no, the hoax. People think it's Osama bin Laden, which is definitely not true, according to some evidence that David Rockefeller planned the World Trade Center. That make it like one World Trade Center been built. Before that, it was a David Rockefeller planned 2 Twin Towers and its structures that caused 9/11. It's not Osama bin Laden, because though I don't think 2 planes knock out full of skyscrapers. They may knock out some parts of skyscrapers, of course, they cut out a quarter of its size. They fall into the ground, but they don't have enough heat to burn entire structures. So that I understand that steel is not hard enough to be burned by other thing, unless it's extremely hot, like a nuclear weapon, for example, such as atomic bomb, or ICBMs, or Russia angry things, such as Putin anger issues type of nuclear weapons that will destroy steel and civilizations, and other United States anger issues too, with the nuclear weapons that will, and maybe other weapons too that can destroy steel. But steel is actually a very strong resource, very strong materials. Explain why there's skyscrapers today, and railroads advanced enough. The ships are built enough. Airplanes have been designed by the brothers back in North Carolina that still have been playing into it and make it as we know today. And now it went bankrupt because the government's gone too big and too stupid. So I'm not keeping repeating that word again with that. But it's a time where you need to wake up. I know I'm angry. I'm really trying to help others to know what's going on. And there's New York City is a perfect example how it got so civilized. And now look at it today. And there's someone who went there and they're not happy with look at what you see with all the police officers so much in there, arresting kidnapping so many people, as well as a lot of shady events, which is bad smell from sewage. Of course, there's a lot of rats, there's a lot of crime affecting, there's a lot of angry, miserable people yelling, screaming too, make their lives miserable over too much taxes, too much regulation, too much overworking that makes them angry too, which happens everywhere, but New York City is one of the worst in the world thanks to all the bullshit going on. So that's a term. From me traveling from Pennsylvania to here now, trying to see the technologies I'm trying to expose. Because back in the 19th century, it was people who invent something from the generations before that making all the equipment that in the somewhere else, no Henry business there or other related inventors make something that's changed the things forever. That somewhere else who was a marketer like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller steal it and sell it to the banksters. Not Rockefeller, but Carnegie, maybe Henry Ford, all the thing, and J.P. Morgan trying to steal by let others selling to their sold to the devil. Now the Morgans have anything, have the railroads, have all the stuff, include planes. And they're going to bankrupt the entire country. You think I'm a conspiracy theorist? Well, look at how civilization it gets so far. And call me a conspiracy theorist or other video I'm trying to show to you, such as David Icke, who also tell the truth in other videos. Or Jeff Barrett, the Dollar Vision Update, tell the truth too. They call those two conspiracy theorists. Look in New York City today. You think it's that civilized? Looks like dystopian shithole. I keep repeating it. What's going on? I keep repeating it until it's time for humans to wake up from all the bullshit. You don't know what to do because we've been in the comfort zone chasing money. Oh, they chasing central banking money and detached from the reality. The reality chase you. The reality is detach you from people who took shit and lies to you, such as government, school, and parents. And because parents doesn't know better, most of them, doesn't know better about what was life in reality. Detach them into government, fake laws stuff. And what happens to kids today? In turn to be mans, some in turn to be pussies, some in turn to be police officers, some in turn to be military, and then things are not going good at all. I know I keep burping because I was eating food. Of course, I was ate something about hours ago. I know, my bad. I just try to eat, or eat 1 meal a day, trying to take some fasting, because the food in the U.S. has been poisoned by Monsanto. Monsanto, of course, who did put dangerous chemicals as well as factory farming food. But this is resources I'm trying to show to you. Remember, I have to repeat again, or you need to figure out what's going on. Or I'm just trying to teach you what is the fact, reality. So remember, one is got to do with steel and oil. And then oil improves its technology like gasoline and other chemicals. improvement by many other resources like petroleum, uranium, skyscrapers, of course, steam engines improve it. Steam engines, of course, train tracks, trains, and then cars invented afterwards by improving existing ones from other factories. And then airplanes, of course, and then from that the list goes on until we notice that things are not be much improvement. Because rocket ships, as we know, doesn't sink to outer space. I don't think it designed humans to being sent to outer space, but it does send some special technologies, such as robots, for example, that may appear to outer space, but I need more room and more oxygen tank, what doesn't take much, does take some time to figure things out, according to some real life knowledge. So I'm just a thinker, trying to study what's going on. I'm trying to say fuck college and starting to self-educate yourself to what's going on. Reason why I'm making this video and the last 3 videos so far. My 2 videos talk about your mindset. Another 2 videos talk about your comfort and the realities. So hope this video is actually the one that there's always hope in humanity. There's always hope around us. Because I know I want to prepare. I don't know names of the words. I know that I can't remember some names. I was burping, distraction to look in the ground, because I was walking around to trying to perfect me to falling down to injuries, for example. So that's all I could said. I remember what I've been said before. There's always a way to invent new technology by not using central banking money, but using its own knowledge, its own marketing, its own money, like gold sliver or many other resources to build itself for marketing, to expand to a new one, like our ancestors did back in 19th century and beyond, such as Chinese did to the Middle Ages, India did to with their invention of steel. Same thing with Spain, Spanish Kingdom, Arab bracket. They're just trading to improve their technologies as well, such as China and trading gunpowder to the European, and using gunpowder to improve its structures, and then figure out how to do it, trade tracks and other resources to improve itself that cause steel to be invented, that cause railroads to be invented because humans was thinking how to build, because they was suffering very bad, horrible past from the disease known as Black Death, or other dangerous wars known as the Mongol invasion, where wiped out quarter of the population. Reason why they would think much better to build a civilization, which would take centuries later, until it got much fast enough. It doesn't take much ago, until 19th century, when people realize what's going on, then trying to make an event for one resources, make it into improvement, industrialized revolution from 1750s, where someone make the content, tobacco, other things for trading into its resource is another invention. So, and that makes the content to make clothes, to make many more items, and then free market and trading. And they don't have much regulation, doesn't have much regulation, doesn't have central banking. So I'm gonna do is invented by William Patterson in Scotland, who making central banking. But that was nothing compared to Rothschilds, who did central banking back in Napoleon and rob Britain. Well, that's because reason why they're not that powerful, because Europe doesn't have enough resources to overtake its economy until the Federal Reserve, because the United States has so many resources that cause its civilization to improve dramatically. Explain why Andrew Conkey improved completely with their steel. Explain why Henry Ford make too much his cars, because America has a lot of resources to build its invention. Europe has some, but Europe is too unstabilized with political bullshit due to people live too close together, from Germany, France, England, Spain, Italy. How many people live too close together? That make politics bullshit, because people still believe in statism, one world religion that causes destruction. But they figure out, but it's a good thing back in the past that they figured things out. Unlike today, they just keep repeating their stupid bullshit of money chasing for nothing. The old days, people don't chase money, don't think about money. Think about what they're seeing their whole lives. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them just think. Don't chase money, they chase their own reactions. There's not much government doing shit, except some places like London, of course. London's been government for centuries. But other than that, there was people take care of themselves all the time. Until we get to aftermath of World War II, when the tyranny reached its maximum point. And now been passports where it doesn't exist before, which has gone way too far. So this is the reason why I make this video. This picture mention its self-invention, its self-history, to let you know that we adapt free thinking, creativity, until after the 20th century, when it's Federal Reserve, when it's with little nobbies like John D. Rockefeller, David Rockefeller, the Rothschilds, using the government to brainwash and control people, such as population control, and that caused public schools to make it extremely brainwashed with statism. So that's what I'm trying to teach you about what their causes. So remember, the United States of America is a perfect example why it was land the free, home the brave, because they don't have much marketing. They don't have much resources. They didn't discover yet until there's a lot more people to settle and exploration. And centuries later, explore all the resources. From Maine to California and Pennsylvania, it has tons of resources with oil, coal, and steel. And California has gold. Montana has gold. They're just using gold, mining gold, to improve its money structures. The reason why United States got so rich, the factories, marketing, invention, improvement, cycling, because England's a small island, is not big enough to have that big a marketing to industrialize the entire land. United States of America is, because they have a lot more land, a lot more resources. England doesn't. United States did. Reason why New York City, reason why I keep repeating, show you that city around us. Back in history, reason why it got so advanced. But after the 20th century, some of them got advanced, some of them. But doesn't mean that not anything's got so advanced. He was projected with government usage that we were flying cars in space for 100 years. But again, is that we're not there. We never will be there when things have been mentioned before, and I keep talking about it since then. So I can't repeat this topic again, saying you already watched my previous, since I've been talking about it so many times. I will educate you that we should think better. And remember, invention doesn't come for marketers. Invention comes for people like me or other who just found ways to solve things, such as doing business. That's probably one thing, and capitalism too. And history always shows you a lesson that there's so many people who done that, who just did business out of invention to other many things. And factories is a perfect example why they use it. So the reason why I'm trying to talk about it. All right. So this is actually. So I'm pretty tired right now. I had things to do. So hope I will make another. I think I have to. I think that's it for now. I'm sorry. That's it for now. So, I hope things will be changing since then. If things doesn't change pretty well, the economic collapse will kill more than half our population. And the food, as we know, doesn't come from factory farming. It comes from plants, and trees, and maybe also animals too, as we know. And people should know how to hunt. Some people do. They should know how to grow in their garden, know how to feed themselves. And there's lots of fishing and many other ways too. So there's always ways as we go out with something. From my last video to this video, there's always a ways. Don't tell me there's no other ways. Because you believe in the system. The more you stop believing in the system, you believe what humans did in the past, before 20th century, you'll be in good shape. Because someone's robbed our mind. Someone's stealing our minds. Because our parents become dumber now. Most of our parents, not all of them. Especially now, whatever. So hope this. Okay. So I had some things to do. So we'll see what's going on. All right.